Good evening, everyone. My name's Hafi. I'm the new fellowship rep for PLASTA, and this is Sharon, our new webinar lead for PLASTA. And I am delighted to announce our first speaker for 2026 for our fellowship webinar series. We have Dr. Shan Ku. Dr. Ku is a consultant plastic surgeon at Maastricht University Medical Center. She serves as the principal investigator for the lymphedema research group there. She's the director of the Center of Excellence for Lymphedema Surgery and co-director of the Microsurgical Fellowship and International Observership, together with Dr. Stefania Tuinder. She's an all-round microsurgeon involving weekly cases from head to toe and has expanded the boundaries of plastic surgery beyond into hepatic and robotic surgery. She's given talks both internationally and nationally, and most recently gave a wonderful talk at the BAPRAS Congress in Northern Ireland. So I'm very excited for our speaker this evening, Dr. Ku. Please take the floor.
Thank you for your kind invitation and presentation, and thank you for PLASTA for this nice initiative and for the kind invite and organization. So good evening, everyone. I don't know if they are registered outside UK. Yeah, I hope, this could be a useful talk so you can really get into the reality of how our reconstructive microsurgical fellowship looks like. This is our team. We are 11 consultants here, 5 microsurgeons within them. And every year we have fellows, international fellows, but we usually also have a Dutch fellow who does a little bit slightly different work than the international fellow. But I will explain you later. So in this plastic surgery group, we cover all these hospitals in the south of the Netherlands. As you can see, it's a very small country in comparison with UK, I think. You can see where Amsterdam and The Hague are. These are like one of the most well-known cities in our country. And Maastricht is totally here in the south. But with the train, you can reach it in 2 hours, direct train. So it's a very small country, and that's why for us it's not it's quite usual to receive patients from all these provinces around Maastricht. I don't know if something similar happens in the UK. Preliminary considerations. I love the book I wrote of Simon Sinek, Start with Why. And I really want to remarkably say to share with you my also own experience. When I finished my training, I went 1 year to Chang'an Memorial Hospital for 1 year fellowship there, without salary, with a scholarship, very humble life, as Dr. Fu Changwei used to say to us, the fellows. But it was the biggest investment of my life, because after that year, I came back to Europe being almost the queen of the microsurgery, because I was very young, 30 years old. And then I had much more experience with free flaps in 1 year than many consultants in Europe in 5 years. So I rise 165 cases in a year. And this usually you cannot get these numbers in any country in Europe. So why I would advise you to do a fellowship, I think, is a smooth transition from registrar to consultant responsibilities. If you are not registered and you think that your life sometimes is way too busy and there is no work-life balance, you will see when you become consultant. So it becomes much worse, I think. But the challenges and all the good things that come with that, I think compensated the hard work you will have to get to do when you become consultant. And fellowship can also help you to advance the a certain expertise possibilities. So in this case, it's microsurgery, but maybe you are interested in pediatric surgery or cleft palate or advanced hand treatment. I would advise for sure to go all through an fellowship. During that period, especially when you go to a country where you don't speak that language, has a lot of advantages because you are purely focused on the skills. When I was in Taiwan, I was 24 hours at the OR because I didn't have to do any clinics. I love it. Although I can speak Mandarin, but patients there, yeah, I spoke some Taiwanese dialect. So I couldn't understand always. And there was not the function of a fellow there to attend the clinics. So more or less you will have something like that when if you come to the Netherlands because you don't speak Dutch, I suppose. Some of them, yeah, some of you maybe can speak Dutch, then congratulations. But because you know you can just purely focus on the skills on how to be like more efficient at the OR. You can get a higher earning potential, find the niche. Mm, I live in a country where everything is very democratic and there is not so much hierarchy. Everything is quite shallow here. So yeah, I can like find many reasons why I should be paying more in a public hospital than other colleagues, for example. But I don't think that will be very welcoming. But in other countries, maybe in the UK, they recognize, you know, the chances and also the novelty of having someone who found a niche. So you should also try that. Professional networking, I mean, in Maastricht, we receive 1 or 2 visitors a month, and then we have every 6 months a new microsurgical fellow, sorry. So you will be like be in touch with many different plastic surgeons, registrars around the world. Uh, Last week we have our Romanian fellow with our visitor from Zurich and also another visitor from Madrid. Next week we are getting a visitor from China. So all these will interact together with the team, with us, and with our microsurgical fellow, who is usually an international one. And then you can improve career opportunities. You can, you know, what helped me the most in my fellowship in Chang'an was that I was like 2 months in every with every professor there. So I could do anything when I finished there, but I ended up in Maastricht, and my boss asked me to establish the lymphedema unit. So I did that, but it was not like I was especially focused on lymphedema. I just did everything: plexus, facial, head and neck, a lot, as you know already. So I could specialize in everything, and now, thanks God, we can do everything. So I really, as the presenter said, I can, I can operate any kind of surgeries related to microsurgery from head to toe, just because I get exposed during my training there. I am available, and also my hospital allows that. All the microsurgeons has to be able to do almost all kind of microsurgical reconstructions. So going to the next slide, process application. You need to hold a valid UK or European Union passport. If you are outside European passport, it's really a lot of paperwork. I really don't know if our HR people will, you know, be willing to do that. So UK or European Union is perfect. Fluent in English, yeah, you know. I guess everybody in this webinar are much more fluent in English than me. Knowing Dutch is advisable, but it's for sure not mandatory. And all our morning meetings, morbid mortality meetings with the fellows are all in English. So all our residents can speak proficient English, I would say. Fully qualified and registered plastic surgeon. So we are not accepting last year residents, only registered board certified plastic surgeons. You need to submit your CV with 2 references, successfully complete an online interview with me and Dr. Tinder. The position, yeah, I get a lot of comments from our previous fellows like, I found you by chance in the International Microsurgical Club. I was like, yeah, this is the only place I used to post our fellowship thing. Until now, it works quite good because we receive a lot of applications every year. Yeah, I think every year a bit more. Last year we have like 16 applicants and we could only, accept 3. And then the Dutch medical registry, you don't need it. And that's why, because you cannot speak Dutch, this big registration, we call it like that, you need to have a C2 level of Dutch. I don't think I have it even the C2 level, but when I came to the Netherlands in 2015, there was the language requirement was up to B2. So that's why I could get that quite easily. But now it's like becoming a little bit more difficult, but it's not a problem because you don't have to do clinics. You don't have to take care of the patients directly. You are always under supervision with us at the operating theater. So this is the way I post it, in our LinkedIn page, you can actually follow that Microsurgical Fellowship Maastricht University Medical Center. And the next time we have a position free, then I will post it in the International Microsurgery Club. This is it's a group, very well-known group. I think it has more than 15,000 microsurgeons. It's started by a very good friend of mine, Tommy Chan. So I use it like it's a very useful platform. Who will be the best candidates? You need to have a solid experience in general plastic surgery. So you are not busy like learning to, getting speed in your suturing skills, for example. Um, you need to have some exposure to microsurgery with basic microsurgical skills. We are not asking to have developed microsurgical skills, but because then you are like over prepared for this fellowship. You should demonstrate enthusiasm and commitment to develop to develop your microsurgical skills, particularly in the fellowship. So you will see once you are here that some of my colleagues run a very successful cosmetic clinic. Of course, our fellows are also, can go there, but it will be a little bit weird if you put that as, if the fellows prefer to go to the cosmetic clinic instead of being at the OR with a free flap surgery. That will be a little bit weird and won't be very welcoming, I would say. But of course, in a day when we don't have a free flap, usually on Mondays, you are free to go wherever you wish. Receptive to get feedback and open to new ways of working. As you have already, noticed sometimes when some observers, fellows come to your hospital, is sometimes it's very welcoming, and I found it very, very fresh to hear new ideas, but not all the time. So sometimes we get these observers that say, "Oh yeah, in my hospital we do this, in my hospital we do that." And it's like, do you really enjoy staying in our hospital? Because you're all the time saying that, giving the idea that in your hospital everything went better. So of course we are open to your suggestions, and we love to hear gossips, like some observers come from Ghent visiting Blondil, or from Brussels, from Hamdi. They are all our neighbors. I love to listen to them, their gossips, how they do at the ORs, because I've never been there. So it's really very nice, to know, how is the pace of everyone at the OR, for example. But just be open for new ways of working. Maybe we will surprise you. Understand personal limitations and knows when to seek support during the surgeries. That is very important for us. You will face like 5 microsurgeons at the department. Some of them will be very, very careful about their cases, and they won't share it with a fellow. Others will share immediately on the first day. Oh yeah, just get the receptor vessels, yeah, at the leg or wherever. So if you have never done that because you did your fellowship in the breast reconstruction center, please say that, because yeah, before you commit some mistakes that we cannot correct, just be like very honest with us. We won't be surprised because we have seen everything. And then able to build new relationship with colleagues. We love it when there is a very good relationship between our fellows, international fellows, and our residents. That means that you are engaged with the community. And then it's not so difficult to share things at the OR, because in Taiwan, that was also quite tricky because we were 6 fellows and there were 24 residents, like a 6 per year. There were 4 years plastic surgery training after general surgery. And then if you don't get along with the residents, you will end up maybe closing the donor sites. So my advice, get along with the residents. And then, like, because the residents got also their only chance to learn microsurgery. So of course they will be sometimes our priority. But there is always things to share because we have free flaps almost every day. So there's always a chance for the fellow, and you will get even more chance if you have already solid microsurgical skills, for example. And you can also develop some of other skills you will use it when you become a consultant, and is to guide a resident during a surgery. So teaching moments. Income and financial considerations. The monthly salary is quite enough to live in Maastricht. Since the candidate do not have possession of this Dutch medical registry, no night shifts, you will have less salary than in the similar position in the UK, But then I would say, yeah, this fellowship has a zero 0.8 FTA. So that means you will have like a long weekend. Almost always we leave Monday free for our fellows. I remember one of our Italian fellows. I think she went to Italy almost every weekend because it was like with Ryanair, very cheap Flixbus, So for her it was like a perfect. And it was, yeah, I will take like later on about the work-life balance, but we have, I think the salary is not like my life in Taiwan, where I have a very humble life. The salary is quite enough to live, yeah, and to eat outside if you wish. And the hospital provides an accommodation when this is available. It's a shared apartment. You have to share with other 3 persons, but usually they are not, yeah, completely full, except some like a popular moment, when because they are like a 4 apartment with 4 bedrooms each, and then is available for all the observers and fellows from our hospital. So yeah, we give always the priority to our fellows, especially because the first month is free of charge. And then the next month, I think you paid around 600, 700 euro, rent. And you get once per week your apartment cleaned. So that is quite a good deal. And it's just in front of the hospital. So that is perfect, but it's not always available. So I can tell you the monthly rent, I guess, is not like so expensive as in London or other cities in the UK. But yeah, it can be like around 1,000 euro or 1,500. So the clinical exposure and operative experience, this is usually how I explain how our microsurgical cases are distributed. The most of the free flow we do are breast reconstruction. It's logical. I mean, it's the most frequent cancer in females. Then after that, we have nerve and lymphatics, but these are usually under local anesthesia, the LVAs. Then you have trauma, sarcoma cases, and head and neck. last year, these are the numbers last year. Actually, our fellow usually fill the, the number of flaps, failures, revisions, retakes, these kind of things, complications. So I have the numbers, recently, because last week we had our morbid mortality meeting. So we had 290 patients receiving free flaps, 389 free flaps, because sometimes we do bipedical, tripedical, I don't know, shape flaps, 60 to 70 cases of LVA. I do that on the local anesthesia every Tuesday morning. And then these are our failures. 3 fair flaps, one ACIA for the auto augmentation for the other side. So that means that that was actually my case. I place a bipedical D for one side, and I connect another, another one, the other 1/4 of this abdomen as auto augmentation. So I use the CA, but then something happens, and at the day 4, the flap was dead. We don't know still what happened, so I cannot learn very much from that. And then in skin island of the ALT, we place like a ALT to cover 2 different defects, lateral and medial malleolus, and they were like connected. So we only have to split the skin island, and one of them died after 5 days because the tunnel got very swollen, and then one of them went ischemic. And one skip flap, I think that was no flow in the receptor vessels. We have a 7% of take back surgeries after microsurgery. And more in detail, in breast reconstruction, we have a very varied palette we offer to our patients, like a DIP flap, simple single bipedical shape stacked lumbar flaps is our last option, but I put it there. SGAP, LTP, DAC, PAP, and then for the after lumpectomy, or like a muscle breast sparing mastectomy. So we do LECAP, ICAP, TDAP, the typical things, and then the autologous fat transfer for in whole breast reconstruction. We are also pioneers on that. Lymphatic surgery, LVA, and the local anesthesia, as I told you. I'm now recruiting patients for, for the NLFI study. I'm running this one, multi-center. And unfortunately, I'm comparing, we are comparing sham operation versus real LVA. So some mornings I got like 2 shams, and it's like a really very tedious morning. But yeah, we still have to get 25 included, in total 110. So I really, really, really very curious about these results. I hope LVA has better effect than the placebo, but we never know. So then we have the robotics, DIP flap with a lymphatic tissue transplant, pedicle skip flap, immediate to the inguinal lymph node dissection. I just applied for a grant for that, so I hope I will get that grant, and we can start collaboration with Switzerland, Germany, and Netherlands in 7 centers. And a free skip flap for patients who are not good candidates for LVA, and then we place it in the armpit. And then the placing of BioBridge. This is absorbable collagen-based lymphatic vessels. We are doing this study with Basel University, led by Dr. Capos, Elizabeth. We don't know yet if that has like a better effect than lymphatic tissue transfer alone, but we have to see. And the rest of the reconstructive microsurgery. So sarcoma reconstruction, lower limb, non-union fractures, head and neck, facial palsy, TMR, nerve coaptations, abdominal wall reconstruction after enterocutaneous fistula, robotic surgery using intuitive devices. I started doing the phrenic nerve reconstruction after Timoma resection by the cardiothoracic surgeons. And we are expanding our possibilities. Maybe we would like to start doing DIP flaps with the Da Vinci. Our hospital just got like 2 Da Vinci 5 systems. So we don't know. This Friday, coming Friday, somebody from the Da Vinci is coming to watch how I do a DAP flap to get better idea how the Da Vinci can help. And then it's important information for our international fellows. This is a national referral center with a very low tolerance for flap failure. We have like a 1% or less than 1% last year. A minimum number of free flaps will be guaranteed to you and to all the fellows. So don't worry, don't get nervous if the first month you found like you are not doing enough. And we'll let you do it under supervision according to the experience of each of you. So it's not always comparable, but you will see. And then there is a wide variety of microsurgical cases, as I just explained. So the majority will be breast reconstruction still, but the palette we offer here is quite big. So we receive a lot of failed flaps from other centers. And then we have to do one of these exotic flaps. Research opportunities, lymphedema. We have many research groups within plastic surgery. I think one of the biggest research groups within the Netherlands. So if any of you would like to do an international PhD program in the Netherlands, you need to have a very nice topic and then publish 4 or 5 articles as you as first or second author. And then is the PhD more or less done? Because the PhD is based on articles. It should be like a peer review articles with more or less impact factor. But we don't, of course, expect you to publish in JAMA Surgery or something like that. But just like a proper peer review scientific journals. And then if any of you would like to participate, any of our future and current fellows, they are all welcome. Lifestyle and work balance. Work schedule. Every morning we have this morning meeting from 7:45 to 8. And as I told you, will be in English. So all the fellows and observers are welcome to attend. On Wednesdays, we will have the journal club, also in English. And the operating theater is open from 8 to 4. So that's why I told you, we have to rush to finish our bilateral cases, everything before 4. Unilateral, we usually finish at 12. The skip at 11, more or less. But then we have like a lot of cases after that because we really need to do production. Production gives you a little bit power in this in the hospital setting, especially in academic. And we are within our hospital one of the high volume production. So if you compare with the general surgery, which is a huge department, they do the 20% of the OR production in total. We are running the 10% with with the half of even 1/3 of the consultant in our department. So that's why that gave us a little bit power. And also we got then 3 times per month long ORs until 7:30, where we can plan our lumbar flaps, maybe 2 single DAP flaps, different 2, 3 free flaps in a day. The morbid mortality meeting will be once per quarter, and then we'll discuss complications, number of free flaps done in the last 3 months. And then each fellow and observer can present one interesting case they had, they had done or performed in their countries or with us. And as I told you, you don't have on calls, you don't have night shifts, and you work 4 days full time with us. This is Maastricht. It's a very small city, 140,000, but it's a very, they call us the rest of the country thinks that we are always very happy and spending time drinking beer on the terraces. But it's like we know how to enjoy life, and you will find a huge number of like a Michelin star restaurants in Maastricht. We have the best culinary culture from the whole Netherlands. in Amsterdam, Groningen, yeah, they don't know how to cook. So I think this, if you are like a fans about that, about nice food, Maastricht is your city. And then there are two moments in the year very busy. That is one of them. André Rieu, he's a very famous musician, not very good classical music, I would say, but he filled us this, like the city and this whole square with more than 10,000 people every weekend, all the weekends of July. So then the city is full of foreigners from Australia, Tasmania. You cannot imagine, for the most, like weird places you can imagine, far away from Maastricht. They come every year. They are like evangelic followers, I call them. And then that is much more a stylish event, TFAF, the European Fine Arts Fair, is every year, 10 days in March. It's gonna be next month. Everyone comes here from all the important museums to buy these their pieces. And every year there is a piece of Renoir or piece of Van Gogh or piece of Rembrandt that was not well known. Last year there was a super nice piece of Gustav Klimt, was sold by, I don't know, 10 million or 100 million. I'm not very sure about the numbers. I just had 2 hours, and the exposition is, we are lucky because it's just in front of the hospital. So there are some days closed for VIP clients. So that means the Mets, I guess all the important museums from the UK are here. And then there are like another 7 days open for public. So it's huge exposition, but you can see like from ancient art to modern art. So it's, yeah, very big experience. Returning to practice after fellowship. Yes. How can this fellowship help you? So I ran a survey to all our previous fellows. There were 9, but only 5 respond. So I bring some quotes from them. One of them said, "I have been working as microfellow in the UK. I've noticed that I'm now more confident and efficient in decision making, better able to overcome difficulties during free flap reconstruction, and more independent in leading a free flap case on my own. I was able to perform one of the first neurotized DIP flaps for breast reconstruction in the UK center where I'm currently working, thanks to the technique I learned in Maastricht." I feel very proud when I read that. Like, wow, she really, gets a lot from this fellowship. The next one said, "It helped me significantly. I returned more confident and incorporate new techniques into my practice. The back wall first approach, this is the one we use for anastomosis of the vessels in particular, changed my practice, and I have been using it consistently since then. Upon completion of the fellowship, I expect to return to clinical practice with enhanced surgical skills, increased operative confidence, and a broader reconstructive perspective. The fellowship is anticipated to facilitate a smooth transition back into practice, allowing direct application of advanced technique and decision-making principles acquired during training." The other one said, "When I later secure a consultant post, I have been happy with this fellowship ever since, because I felt so much more secure in both microsurgical cases, revisions, and other complex cases that I experienced much more work pressure and less stress. This lady has 4 kids." Also, it was great to have been able to observe such great models and learning from them and finding out what you find most important in treating your patients as best as possible. And the last one said, "This is the second strength. Over time and with practice, the experience gained, even indirectly, also provides the tools and knowledge to deal with the most complex cases." So this is the end of my talk. Sharon asked me like 3 times per email that I have to share this QR code So please, they are really willing to know your opinion about this talk and the coming talks, I guess. So I now open the floor for questions from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Q. That was a wonderful talk. You've really sold the Maastricht Microsurgical Fellowship. Makes me want to apply right now. Um,
Welcome to apply.
yeah. So does anyone have any questions from the floor for Dr. Q? This is a rare opportunity to have such an esteemed surgeon on our webinars.
We've not got any questions on the floor yet, but I've got a question for you, Dr. Q. How would one make themselves attractive when you are actually seeing them in interview other than gaining microsurgical experience in their day-to-day?
Oh, I loved when I see in the candidate a lot of passion for microsurgery, like a very genuine passion. Because then, it's very absurd, but I feel like, like a mirror, because I also I only like microsurgery actually within plastic surgery. So then I feel like with so much passion, we can help this person a lot because it's only commitment and also so that person has already the base, and with our help this person can accomplish much more. So that's why it feel me like a very inspired, I really want to help this person.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's a true vocation, microsurgery, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, but you will see in Maastricht that you don't have to dedicate your life to it like in Taiwan.
yeah. Oh,
got to
we've
love
got a
it.
couple of questions now. So, one from Anna. She said, "When do you usually start the application process slash timeline of the application?"
We usually do applications every 1 year and a half, because we usually, for each application, we already hire like a three fellows in a row. So each of 6 months. And then for the next one, we haven't decided yet, because we are still, we are starting in per 1 April with the next 3 fellows. So I guess you just have, I'm sorry, but I think you just have to be post in the International Microsurgery Club in the Facebook group, because it's sometimes, the how it happens with the university hospitals. You cannot sometimes post that officially until you didn't get the green light from the HR or wherever that you have the money for the next 18 months. So that's why it's a little bit uncertain. But for the next 6 months, we already have our 3 candidates. So I guess it will be somewhere in 2000, maybe the coming summer or in September 26. But I think you should have to, we will post that for sure on time in the IMC.
Okay. And then question from Dan van Noonen. What is the difference between the Dutch and the international fellow?
The difference
The
is like,
difference, yeah.
yeah, the Dutch fellow has to do also clinics and also night shifts, because the fellowship in the Netherlands is completely different. I think it's like in the UK when you hire somebody from the UK. So they are really doing a proper work that a consultant should do. The only difference is that the cases they have is like they are not going to operate alone, also not for microsurgical cases, but they have sometimes to do general plastic surgery as well. And the international fellow has this chance that we don't need him or her in the clinics, so he can spend all his time at the OR because you don't speak the language. So that is perfect. I think that is more an advantage than a disadvantage, actually. The only disadvantage is that we have much more spots free for Dutch microsurgical fellow than for international microsurgical fellows. because the number of registrars finishing each year is not so high. Per each year in this country we have only 11 spots for training, for registrars in plastic surgery. So the spots are quite scarce, and then after they finish, they get like a very easily a permanent job, because we need we need plastic surgeons now. So yeah, very few go and pursue their fellowship somewhere else. They just stay sometimes in their own community hospital because they are hired permanently. So it's quite some years we don't have any fellow, for example, for the Dutch. So yeah, this is the only advantage of speaking Dutch, that you have, like, for sure, much more chance to get into the program.
Okay. Miroslava says, thanks for the great presentation. Are the fellows in your program allowed to do robotic surgery?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't know how is the training in the UK. Are the registrars doing 2 years general surgery?
Robotic surgery is still quite a niche, I think, in the UK, at least for plastic surgery. Very
Ah,
select
okay.
centers do them. I think it's primarily consultant led. Uh, so yeah, but I don't think we get that much experience for robotic surgery as far as I'm aware.
I also didn't have any experience either in Taiwan or during my training, but I just started here because, as you know, I have been working with uh, a robotic platform for microsurgery, the Musa robot from Microsurgery. And so the step into Da Vinci was very easy to me. Like, okay, yeah, Da Vinci is even more intuitive than Musa. So we are actually now seeking for people willing to learn Musa, because you really have to dedicate hours to get these skills and to go through this learning curve. So yeah, I mean, everybody is welcome. Da Vinci, yeah, you need like to do the proper training. I was asking if you had a general surgery training, because if you are very good, or you were very good in laparoscopic, I think Da Vinci is also quite intuitive in that sense. But I mean, we don't oblige anybody, but everybody is open to learn robotics.
Okay. I suppose would there a follow-up to that question is would there be a course, or is there a I know the Da Vinci has its own because my wife's a thoracic surgeon. She uses Da Vinci and they do they run courses on that and as part of
Yeah.
the Da Vinci course is it the same thing? Does Maastricht offer
Yes,
that? Or-
we have simulators now. As you know, in all the consoles of DaVinci 5, you will have a simulator, so you can train your hours in the simulators after 4 p.m. when everybody's finished.
Mm.
And then near Maastricht in Belgium, we have this place called Orsi, I think is the name, Orsi. So there is a robotic training center, and you can go there for a week training. Is Yeah, they will be happy to have you. And I forgot to mention that, but in this salary, you will get also budget for a course of a congress during this year. I
Okay.
think, yeah, this year is around
Amazing.
8,000 euros, but per year. But I mean, every year is a little bit more due to the inflation. But you can also use this kind of money to do these courses. Is really up to you.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great.
Hmm.
Um, so a few more questions. So Julia asks, where can we register? Would you be able to send the link, please? Is that for the job application, Julia, or is that for the IMC group? IMC is on LinkedIn.
Is also on Facebook,
Yeah.
IMC. I think if you really would like to, to do microsurgery in the future, I will say just add yourself into the IMC Facebook group. I know that Facebook is not so much popular nowadays, with people around 30 years old. But IMC has really a lot of yeah, it's a big community, and I can tell you, I got, yeah, we got almost all of our candidates from IMC. But you said, Halif, that there is also IMC in LinkedIn.
The LinkedIn group for the international
Ah,
micro.
our
Yeah, yeah,
microsurgical group,
your
yeah,
one.
that is in
Your one.
LinkedIn only.
That's on LinkedIn.
Uh, yes, I can show you. I don't know if um these two groups, I will recommend it, completely to be inside this. And for sure, we are also going to post it there. But yeah, IMC has like a much bigger community. Yeah.
Okay, and then from Anonymous is do you operate a skills/wet lab and is it open to fellows to practice during the fellowship?
Yes, we used to have fellows who were collecting blood vessels from patients, of a DIP flaps, and then they will stay after the surgery to practice under the microscope. You can also use noodles. You can also use what was this? Silicone vessels. But to practice in animals is more complicated in the Netherlands. You can also pay a course in Rotterdam. They have this 1 week, course on rats. And I think it's costs like €1,000, so it's also not so much. But usually you can have more chances to, like all the OR nurses, we will all support you if you wanna use the instruments to practice. And we have 3, 4 microscope. There are 3 kinevos at the hospital. So after the working hours, after 4 p.m., like the aura is yours. So practicing and the skills is like really you can organize yourself. If a fellow, and sometimes in the past the fellow asked one of us to stay with them to teach them some tips and tricks, we are also completely open to that. But then we have to plan that in advance, like a good Dutch person. We have a lot of meetings after the surgery around 4:30. But if we block that part of our agenda, then we can also stay one day and help our fellows. Some fellows can feel like a little bit, I don't know, especially fellows trained in countries like in Italy, where they didn't get so much chance to do things by themselves during the training. Sometimes they can feel a little bit below our residents, and I can understand that. So we can provide, of course, some skill lab for them.
Okay, thank you. And then from Bokwen Song, he says, thanks for the presentation. My training will be completed this August, and I was wondering whether I'd be eligible to apply in the upcoming application cycle.
Yes, for sure. Everybody who is like a completely board certified plastic surgeon uh, are very welcome to apply.
Fine. And then this might be the last question, but from Miroslava, is it possible to extend a 6-month fellowship into a year?
Yes, that is possible. But then you have to mention that specifically in the interview.
Okay.
Yeah. That is absolutely possible. We thought that will be more attractive for more fellows if they only can 6 months, because many of them has family. They cannot move with all children to Maastricht. And Maastricht is a small city, so usually there is no work for the partners. I don't know. These kind of personal family problems. So that's why we offer also the possibility of 12 months, but of course 6 months is the minimum time we will advise, because if you only stay 3, 4 months, it's like we are still getting to know you, and then you have to leave already. So then you will find like the fellowship is way too short. But 12 months, if you are willing to do that, you should mention that in the interview, and we'll take that into account.
Okay, fine. I think that's all the questions, but thank you so much for giving the talk this evening, Dr. Koo.
Welcome.
I just want to check if our attendees have had a chance to look at the QR code, just so we can give some feedback, because you taken out your time, your very busy schedule to give this talk. Um, yeah,
We are so grateful as a team. So thank you so much.
yeah, thank
It's
you.
really informative, and definitely we're all thinking about flying.
Yeah.
Yes, very welcome. And yeah, very nice. Very thanks also to you for the kind invitation. And I hope I will see you soon in some of these congresses this year.
Well, thank you so much again. So yeah, we'll probably leave it there. For any of the remaining attendees, this will be saved and uploaded on the website. The website's just undergoing some changes, but you can always watch Dr. Ku's video again if you want to look through the finer points of the presentation. Dr. Ku, thank you so much for giving up your time for this evening again. And I think Sharon, we could probably happy to announce our next speaker. So very excited to announce that we've got Mr. Zafnaki, who's going to be doing the hand fellowship talk on the 1st of April. We'll send that on social media. He's the president of FESH and is a consultant orthopedic hand surgeon. So that is going to be a very exciting talk. And yeah, Dr. Ku, thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
will forward the feedback on to you, and we'll share any further information with you. But yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much for this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Have a
again.
nice evening, everyone.
Thank you everyone for
Thank
attending.
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.